On our own, humans really aren't that impressive. We're slow. We have weak teeth, no claws, no fur, and no natural weapons at all. So how exactly did we end up building the entire modern world? The secret is that we never did it alone. We made deals with animals. Some hunted beside us. Some carried us across deserts. Some won wars for us. One built an economy out of its own spit. These are the 8 animals that actually built human civilization. Not pets, not scenery, partners. Every one of them changed the course of history, and most never got the credit. Let's meet them. We start with the oldest friendship in all of human history, the dog. Long before we had farms, before cities, before writing, before almost anything we'd recognize as civilization, we already had dogs beside us. They were the first animal humans ever domesticated, around 15,000 years ago, and possibly far earlier than that. But here's the strange part. We didn't really tame them. It happened the other way around. Wild wolves started creeping toward human campfires, drawn in by the smell of leftover meat. The bravest, friendliest wolves got fed. The scared and aggressive ones didn't. So the friendly ones survived and bred. Over thousands of generations, those bold, gentle wolves slowly became something new. They became dogs. In a very real sense, dogs chose us first, and then we shaped them into the companions we know today. And they earned their place. They guarded our camps at night, helped us hunt animals far bigger than ourselves, and kept us warm. Dogs are the only large predator we ever successfully befriended. Our oldest friend. If the dog is the friend who joined us, the cat is the one who moved in uninvited. And it comes with a genuine twist. We never actually domesticated cats at all. They domesticated themselves. Around 10,000 years ago, humans started farming, and for the first time, we stored grain. Huge piles of it, sitting in one place all year round. That changed everything. Because where there's grain, there are mice. Thousands of them. That endless buffet attracted wild cats who wandered in from the countryside to hunt. Nobody invited them. Nobody caught them. They simply showed up, and it was perfect for everyone. The humans got free pest control protecting their food. The cats got an all-you-can-eat supply of prey. Nobody put a cat in a cage. They stayed on their own terms, and it worked out spectacularly for them. In ancient Egypt, cats went from pest controllers to actual gods, worshipped, mummified like pharaohs, protected by a law that made killing one punishable by death. Not bad for an animal that showed up uninvited to eat our mice. And even today, most cats could survive perfectly fine without us. They never fully surrendered. They just decided we were useful. Some animals helped us survive. The horse helped us conquer. If you had to pick the single animal that changed human history the most, it would be very hard to argue against this one. Horses were domesticated on the open grasslands of Central Asia around 5,500 years ago, and suddenly, for the first time ever, a human could travel faster and farther than their own legs allowed. News, trade, and armies could move at a gallop instead of a walk. Distance itself shrank. A message that once took a month could now arrive in days. The world got smaller overnight. But the biggest change was war. A man on a horse beats a man on foot almost every single time, and whole empires were built on that simple, brutal advantage. Nobody proved it better than the Mongols. A relatively small group of nomads conquered the largest land empire in history, almost entirely because they mastered fighting from horseback. And right up until the invention of the tank, the horse simply was military power. Now the least glamorous animal on this entire list, and one of the most important, the donkey. Horses get the glory and the statues, but donkeys did the heavy lifting that actually kept civilization running. Donkeys were domesticated in Africa around 6,000 years ago, and they quickly became the ancient world's delivery trucks. Tough, cheap, patient, and able to carry enormous loads across terrain that would break other animals. They survive on very little food and water, and they'll plod on for hours. For thousands of years, they hauled trade goods, grain, and building materials. Ancient Egypt, quite literally, ran on donkeys. Take the donkey away, and ancient trade and construction simply grind to a halt. No stone gets moved. No goods reach the market. The donkey didn't conquer the world. It carried it. Some places on Earth seemed genuinely impossible to cross. Endless deserts of nothing but sand and killing heat, stretching for weeks in every direction. Then came the camel, and deserts turned from walls into highways. Camels are basically living desert machines. They can drink an enormous amount of water in one go, then keep walking for days with none at all, in heat that would kill a horse within hours. Their humps store energy, not water. Letting them cross terrain nothing else could survive. And they can carry up to 500 pounds while doing it. No better desert technology existed anywhere. This unlocked entire trade routes that reshaped the planet. A camel caravan could take 70 to 90 days to cross the Sahara Desert. Brutal, yes. But before camels, that journey was flatly impossible. The great trade networks connecting Africa, Arabia, and Asia, moving gold, salt, and silk, only existed because of this animal. Whole cities grew rich on the back of a desert creature. This is probably the animal you respect the least. A city pigeon, the flying rat you shoo away from your chips. But the pigeon might genuinely be the most heroic animal on this entire list, because pigeons have an incredible superpower. No matter how far away you take them, they can find their way home. Over hundreds of miles, through storms, through darkness, through almost anything you throw at them. For thousands of years, that made them the fastest long-distance messengers on Earth. Faster than a rider, harder to intercept than a signal. And in the world wars, that became a matter of life and death. When radios failed and phone lines were cut, armies fell back on pigeons to carry vital messages. Nearly 1 million served. Some flew 100 miles, wounded, to save crews of downed airmen. The most famous was a pigeon named Cher Ami. In World War I, around 200 soldiers were trapped behind enemy lines, being shelled by their own side by mistake. Their only hope was a bird. Cher Ami was shot almost immediately. Blinded in one eye, hit in the chest, nearly losing a leg, and it kept flying. It delivered the message. Those men were saved. Everything on this list depended on one thing: food. And the animal that let humans grow enough food to build cities was the ox. Not glamorous, not heroic, but civilization is literally built on it. Before oxen, farming meant breaking hard earth by hand, with sticks and sheer effort. It was brutal, slow work that barely fed a single family. Nobody could grow more than they needed to survive. Then humans harnessed the ox to pull a plow. Suddenly one animal could do the work of many people, turning huge fields of tough soil with ease, day after day, without complaint. And that one change quietly created the modern world. Farmers could now grow far more food than their own families needed, a surplus. And that surplus is the entire reason cities could ever exist. Think about it. If everyone must grow their own food, nobody has time for anything else. But when a few farmers with oxen feed a whole town, others become builders, soldiers, artists, scientists, inventors. We finish with the smallest and strangest of them all, a caterpillar, the silkworm. This little creature built one of the greatest economies of the ancient world out of nothing but its own drool. To make its cocoon, a silkworm spins one continuous thread of silk, a single unbroken strand that can stretch nearly a mile long. And ancient China worked out what to do with it. If you carefully unravel that cocoon, you get the most luxurious fabric humans had ever touched. Impossibly smooth, strong, and shimmering, silk was so prized it was once literally worth its weight in gold. And China guarded the secret with absolute ruthlessness. For thousands of years, they were the only people on Earth who knew that silk came from a worm. Everyone else just thought it was magic. Smuggling silkworms or their eggs out of the country was punishable by death. Guards searched travelers at the border for hidden cocoons. An entire empire built a death penalty security system around protecting a caterpillar. The secret finally leaked around 552 AD when 2 monks smuggled eggs out inside hollow walking sticks. And the eerie part, after millennia of our breeding, silkworm moths can no longer fly. A dog by the fire, a cat in the grain store, a horse that built empires, a donkey that carried the load, a camel that crossed the impossible, a pigeon that flew through war, an ox that fed the world, and a worm that clothed it. We didn't build civilization alone. We built it together with the animals who agreed to walk beside us. They really are humanity's best friends. If this made you see these animals a little differently, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments which one surprised you the most and which animals I should cover in part 2.